That's really a really tough one, but I have to be diplomatic here, I guess.
Hi everyone, back at Cards Against Complexity. Welcome back to Cards Against Complexity with Sascha from dwpbank in Germany. Sascha, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Great to have you, and I think lots to dive into today, into a traditional bank, but banking service provider, into digitization, change, transformation. Many topics to cover. Before we do that, can you tell us a bit more about yourself and your role at dwpbank?
Yeah, sure, I can. So my name is Sascha. I'm head of the division Digitalization at dwpbank. We have 4 focus topics, so to say. One is crypto, AI, data, and innovation, basically. Before I joined dwpbank 4 years ago, I worked almost 10 years in management consulting, and before that in corporate banking for Dresdner Bank, which is now part of Commerzbank, actually. And I'm really passionate about emerging technology, but not only about the portion, the playground emerging technology, but more about integration into business and operating models, actually.
And that's, I mean, we're here at FIBE in Berlin. That's what this conference is all about, looking at traditional players, but also new and upcoming players, integrating them and looking at how technology can, well, bring both forward. For dwpbank, for everyone who doesn't know your business, maybe you can just introduce the dwpbank a bit more so we get a bit of a sense where you are in your journey there.
Yeah, sure, I can. Actually, we are an embedded infrastructure provider, so nobody knows us usually, or at least nobody out of our domain, even retail clients. So what we do, we provide market infrastructure and regulation towards almost 80% of the German market. Yeah. So basically, we have over 1,200 banks connected to our platform. In a nutshell speaking, when you submit an Apple buy share, for example, at one of our clients' online banking portals, everything beyond that point is handled by us. So tax, order routing, execution, and everything that is needed to gain access to the capital markets. Therefore, of course, we are also looking to the digital capital market to bridge TradFi with DeFi, so to say, which is our product dwpbank, the platform that we launched 1 year ago, actually, which started with crypto trading, so Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ethereum-based tokens. And of course, the Digital Securities Act in Germany is a big thing, so digitizing securities trading in Germany for our clients, so that they have one-stop access to decentralized services such as blockchain products and so on.
Really looking forward to diving into all of this because there's probably plenty going on in the digital world at the same time servicing traditional banks. Would love to dive into this, but before this, we've got a few cards here. So I've got a set of cards, and I had the chance to just check them out a bit before. Let me just see. I'll bring them up in a second. And this is for everyone who sees the podcast online. They will see the cards. For everyone else, I'll read them out, everyone listening in now. Here's a set of cards. So for everyone who doesn't know this game yet, Cards Against Complexity, same idea as Cards Against Humanity. On the left-hand side, I've got a card with a sentence, and we'll complete it together. Ideally, you'll complete it with one of the 3 options on the side. You got to choose one. They're not ideal. I can help you on the way if you need help, but I think you probably can make a good choice and take me through your choice. So you're demoing, well, we talked about WP Next to a very traditional bank. That might happen from time to time. The first thing they say is there a paper version of Bitcoin? Can we close trading on the weekends? Or great, now let's fax the onboarding documents to our clients. And every client listening into this probably understands the joke, hopefully.
That's really a really tough one, but I have to be diplomatic here, I guess.
I try to be a bit undiplomatic, and I'm sure everybody at the Volksbank and Sparkasse takes this the right way.
I would say all of the above. No, just kidding. I think it's a tough one. The middle one, can we close trading on the weekends? I think from an operational point of view, that's something banks think about 24/7 is not the DNA currently in the financial markets. And that's a huge thing when you think about IT implementation, about resilience, about stability. as we saw a couple of days ago, actually. In the markets, a lot of disruption due to heavy volume. We almost processed 700,000 transactions. The normal is 200,000 per day, and almost 23 million requests. So it was a huge day, and the system was stable. That needs to be transformed to the digital domain as well, I think. That's why that is a card that speaks quite a lot. But actually, it talks to me. Why? Because at the beginning, when we started 3 or 4 years ago, I had meetings where I sat down with people coming with newspaper clipboards, talking about the risks around Bitcoin and so on. I think it's good that we had a lot of education in the recent years to clear that a bit up and focus on the utilization instead of arguments against this transformation.
And I mean, this is the reality, right? The reality in any transformation out there is you are in a setting that you're in. And fair enough, trading on weekends was not the case forever. Now this is 24/7. That means something different has to be provided as a service by dwpbank, but also something different has to be bought by customers. It has technology, but it has much more behind that. I would love to dive into this a bit. So you're building WP Next, but you're also driving digitization in general at dwpbank. Maybe take us through the journey of the last few years. Like, where did you start off, and what are the key initiatives you're driving right now?
That's a really good one. When we started off, and that's something I can't emphasize enough, I'm a big fan of informed decisions, which means education is key. We talk a lot about Bitcoin, digital assets, AI currently. We talk about vocabs we don't know the meaning of sometimes, or don't have the same meaning for when we talk about this stuff. So I think to make an informed decision, you really have to understand the problem at hand and the solution at hand. So what's in it for me? I think it's really important. And translate that kind of vocab to C-level, translate that kind of vocab to employees, to organizations and customers alike. I think that's a big differentiator. That's why we also sponsored at the Frankfurt School the Web3 Talents program, actually, just to have skin in the game about this education part. And once you have this in place, it will not be a speedy process, to be honest. We took our time. You can talk about strategy. And during dynamic markets, I think it's really important to have a strategy and stick to it, but be open to iterate it if necessary. But what helped us, actually, we are not the biggest bank out there. We have scarce resources as everyone. So I think it's really important to have a game plan and stick to it also in turbulent times. When you're at the beginning 100% sure that's the best USP for your company. Because I think understanding your USP in the market is really key to formulate and define a sound strategy going forward that helps you in dynamic times.
Make sure that you educate everyone, you take everyone along the journey, you know where strategy is at. Now, talking a bit about your journey, to get context for everyone else, take us a bit more into the B2B to C model that you're supporting. What's your role with DWP in that value chain, and how do you think about then transforming, especially now with WP Next, the customer experience of your customers?
So basically, our clients are banks that serve retail clients, so end clients. So, of course, it's regulation behind that. So the first principle is to be compliant with regulation, which means resilient stability and, of course, processing services. I think that's important. Actually, it's an outsourcing, which means, of course, we have to ensure that we don't have any regulatory gaps, issues, or so on. That's the first priority. But on the other hand, and especially with new emerging technology, it's so that banks have quite busy roadmaps, which means they have to
run the bank, and then you can fill a board with it.
Exactly, and crypto is a good example for that, because when we started 4 years ago, every bank just saw they have a lot of money outflows towards Coinbase, Trade Republic, Bitpanda, and so on. But looking into how to utilize it or integrate it, it's not that easy because it's a different animal to tackle. It's a different skill, it's a different technology, it's a different regulation. When we started 4 years ago, there was no regulation at all. I think that got a lot maturer during the last 2 years, and that's why now it's a different starting point. But when we started 4 years ago, I think bringing advice to our clients was a big game changer as well, to think from the end client, even though we are a B2B provider, so our main client is the institution. And I think, and I really believe in competition in these kind of topics, to share knowledge for, especially when there is not yet a guideline from the regulator out there.
And so, I mean, taking traditional like regional banks on this journey with competition, I mean, that's definitely also one way to do it. But I'm sure that has its own like challenges. What were the like main things or like main insights? Like if you had to do it all again, what would you do differently, or what would you do again in this journey?
I think what I would do differently is to emphasize it more at the beginning. So actually we started as an offering, as most market infrastructure transformations, it takes a while. However, now we have a whole different playing field out there, which means we have to be a one-stop shop. However, we have to cater for different expectations and goals in the market. What I mean about that is that we have small banks that just want an out of the box solution, which we are providing, but we have also banks that have maturity and launched platforms and corporations themselves. I think we have to cater for these different types of products and service streams. And at the beginning, there was a lot of holding back just from the viewpoint. I think just to be more aggressive at the beginning, and by aggressive I mean push for integration. I think that's a really big topic, but it needs education. So it's a trade-off actually. It's a trade-off going forward. But now we see a lot of adoption. And I truly believe at the beginning of why our company was founded, everybody had an own back office. It's about economies of scale, and it doesn't make sense to have 20, 25 offerings out there just from an economies of scale perspective when the market is not growing in the same direction with the same speed.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so much operational complexity in running all of that, which dwpbank has seen over the years already, and now is applying just to a new field. Now, what's fun in there is, I guess, you've got a traditional setup, traditional clients mostly, and a super new product. Now, granted, crypto changes, but let's say you've already done this all and it's all running well. Now AI is coming in. How does AI impact the way you run the operations? And I mean, you're in a unique position because you literally run the operations of WP Next yourself as well.
Maybe one last remark to your prior question, actually, because just one thing to add, when we look now at the Crypto Securities Act and crypto securities, so classic stocks or crypto shares, I think now we see the benefits of what you just described and the dwpbank offering, because it's about getting it to the retail client in a regulatory compliant way. And I think here we see it. Therefore, of course, the Bitcoin trading was not the end game at the beginning, but to gain the skills for this new dynamic and for these new products. And that's the bridge to AI as well, because when you look at AI, there's a lot of expectation out there. And basically,
huge expectation.
Basically, when you look at it, I hear often, okay, it's just another chatbot, a bit smarter, so to say. And that's really a point, because we are now in 25, and I think it's the age of agentic AI. Because currently you can ask ChatGPT, of course, I want to travel to Vienna, and he tells you what to see, how to get there, but he's not doing anything. He's not booking it yet, and so on. And I think that has to be transformed into operating models. But you have a lot of legacy to consider. So when are you really, from an audit trail, from a regulatory compliant perspective, when do you really trust the process. When you can really say, I can audit this bot, he's doing exactly what I do, and that's what has to be solved and iterated with a proof of concepts in this year and in the next year, I guess. And AI is a skill, not a technology. That's really important for me, because it's a skill everybody needs in the next years, at least to understand it, because we have in banking a lot of talk about employees losing their jobs because of AI. We have a demographic problem, so it's basically no restuffing, but AI will take over because we have smaller groups to recruit from. And on the other hand, it will be experts knowing how to use AI that people will lose their jobs to if you don't educate yourself on this journey. And that's really important also to integrate it.
Dennis Grumman yesterday from PayPal started the whole conference here, right? And he said, basically, everybody has to wake up to the reality that AI will replace people in a team. The 5 best agents in a compliance team and support team will be training the AI to be even better than the 5 best human agents. How do you think about like making this transformation happen? So one thing you say, like, people have to be educated, they'll have to understand it, they have to get the skill. But then what's the next step? Like, what's almost your advice, I would say, to someone in this role, how to get there?
Actually, for me, I like to describe it in a circle from 3 categories. The first one is expectation. We already talked about it. Yeah. It's huge. Yeah. The second one is education. Once you are educated yourself and understand how it works, the expectation part is different, the perspective on it. Yeah. And the third one is imagination, because what I see a lot is that we see processes and have a problem in a process, and we use technology only to solve this problem. That is good, but AI is far more. Regarding your question, AI is imagination. How can we learn new stuff and use AI to build new skills that make us more resilient and and increase stability? I think that's a really important part. Yeah. So once again, education, but on the other hand, it's also about learning cross-functional, how to deploy the AI in a meaningful way. And that needs more imagination, because frankly, since the financial crisis in 2007, regulation and banks trained people to act like machines. Yeah. Because we have to adapt to machines. But now machines are adapting to us, and there's a huge potential in it to look at problem solving a whole different way.
Very exciting. I think actually like sparks the imagination probably of the listener, of myself definitely here. You're actually writing about this as well. Tell us more about this.
Yes, I do. There's a book project at Frankfurt School. They have a current book. It's called Digital Society. And at the end of the year, the book Digital Dimensions will be published. I can only recommend it because it's from experts for experts, talking about different things around cybersecurity, about blockchain and so on. And I contribute with an AI article how to shape operating models for the future, especially from a holistic perspective. So how bring all these streams together. We talk about agile, we talk about data, we talk about AI, we talk about blockchain. But what is an integrated approach actually going forward, which is getting more and more important, because we're at the tipping point where technology is merging in a meaningful way.
Very exciting. We won't be able to add a link to this. Maybe there's a like pre-release somewhere. We'll do that in the LinkedIn. But definitely we'll put in Amazon a pre-order in, I guess, or at the Frankfurt School. Thank you so much for sharing all these insights from your journey at dwpbank, Sascha. Thanks for being here, and well, let's enjoy the rest of 5 together.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.